Hello students. I just wanted to do a few quick reminders before our exam next week, which will start on Tuesday and end on Wednesday. First, I hope that you've been keeping up with the course and getting things turned in on time. Remember that we have very strict policies about no late work. I'll remind you that you can always click over on the syllabus and schedule just to make sure that you see the schedule of things. I actually added just a JPEG of the schedule here for quick examination, so you can see kind of where we're at in the semester. Also, I wanted to remind you that when you get down to the exam one, so go past the first few modules here, there's a few things that I've put on here. Number one, a Proctorio troubleshooting guide. Remember, you should have taken that Proctorio practice quiz already and made sure your system is ready to go. If you haven't done that yet, get that done. That's up in the very first module. But here's a troubleshooting guide in case you have any other questions. And then if you still have questions, then you need to call the UVU help desk or the Office of Teaching and Learning, and they will help figure out what's wrong with your machine so that you can take the exam. But it should work if you did the quiz before. That should work. Next, there's an essay. So this exam has basically two parts to it. There's an essay, and then there's a multiple choice and short answer exam part. The essay you can be working on anytime, right now or whenever. And it is due also when the exam is due. So it's due Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. But you can be working on it right now. And this is the kind of thing too where I'd highly suggest that maybe you have other people read it. It could be people in your family or your friends, or I'm not sure what the UVU Writing Center, if that's even working right now, but go ahead and use as many people as you can. The only thing you need to do is maintain the integrity policy. So no plagiarism, no copying and pasting from the internet, that kind of stuff. It should be your own work. Then you take the exam, and this has portions that are going to be automatically graded, so you'll get a score on that, but then there'll be other questions that will not be graded yet. So when you see your score, realize that there's still some things that need to be graded manually by the TA. So hang on to that for a little bit. But as soon as the exam closes, so Thursday morning, you can basically wake up and you'll be able to start working on the exam one rewrite. And what this allows you to do is for every single question that's automatically graded that you missed, you can do a rewrite on that question and get half credit back. So let's say that you only had 60% on the automatically graded portion of the exam. If you do the rewrite, you could bump that up to an 80%, right? Because there's 40% and you can do half credit, so you can get an extra 20%, 60 plus 20, 80%. And then the other thing that I need to remind you of is this discussion board right here. I haven't seen a lot of students working on this, and this is an assignment, so I'm forcing you to get on this discussion board. You have to post at least 10 times, but it's essentially the way that we're making up for not being in class and for not having review sessions and all of this. This is where you interact and you ask questions about the content that we have gone over since the beginning of the course until now. And then when we do exam 2, it'll just be after exam 1 to exam 2, and we'll discuss that kind of content in an exam block 2 discussion board. But for this first exam block 1 discussion board, ask your questions and answer questions that other students have posted. So this should be a back and forth between all of you. And I and my TA will be looking at this as well, and I'll be kind of curating a few things. If I see that a discussion is maybe going in the wrong direction, I'll get on and correct those. But this is where you need to talk back and forth and ask questions. And again, it's worth 10 points. You get 1 point per post that you make. So you can get up to a maximum of 10 points. All right, so that's it. So get ready because it's going to come quick. Next Tuesday, the exam will open and it'll close on Wednesday. So you have 2 days to take the exam anytime you want. It's an hour long. That you can only use an hour of time to take the exam. So please make sure and have your essay done before. Don't be using that hour to write your essay. Get your essay already written. In fact, by writing the essay, that will help prepare you more for the exam. And that way you're all ready to go. The other thing, remember to use the learning objectives. The learning objectives are essentially your review, if you will, for the exam. But again, it's not about trying to say, okay, here are the things you need to memorize, because this is open book, open note. So this exam is more about what have you learned during this time. And you should kind of see a build, like the quiz questions and the before and the kind of the videos. A lot of that stuff is looking at really kind of low-level learning stuff, right? The readings, things like that. And so as you did those quiz questions, you should have felt that. Like these quiz questions were fairly low-level learning on the Bloom's taxonomy scale, right? Things like list, identify, define, things like that. As we move into the exam portion of the course, you're going to see that the difficulty of the questions is a little bit, I don't know if I should say harder, but they're on the higher level thinking of the Bloom's taxonomy questions. So things like apply, right, and create, and evaluate, and compare and contrast. You'll see that that these are a little bit higher level thinking. Now, what's prepared you to do that kind of thinking are the after apply activities. So when you've been doing these apply activities, those are the higher level thinking things that will also prepare you for the exam. Now, some of the exam will still have, in fact, questions from the quizzes. So you'll get some of that lower level stuff too, and you should get those right, because if you took the quizzes and got the quizzes right, you can get those right. By the way, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, I think I mentioned this, there's this practice quizzes with large test banks. So for example, Evolution 2 unit has a large test bank. And so you could take that practice quiz as many times as you want, before or after taking the actual quiz, okay? Now what you shouldn't do is take your quizzes over and over again after the due date. Okay, you can take your quiz as many times as you want up until the due date, but then don't take it after the due date or it's gonna wipe out your score. So just, if you want to practice more, go down to the bottom of the modules and use that practice test, those practice question things that I did there for you. Okay, so that's what we need to do, getting ready for exam 1. I hope everything's going okay. Again, if you have any questions, please email me or post on the discussion boards, and we'll try to help you with those things. Okay, good luck.